Morning.
Morning, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm sweet. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I was waiting to see if the 7 a.m. candle would close above this
Yep,
little
same.
minor resistance here, but it came all the way up and then retraced and then closed back in the range. Back in the range. Yeah, gonna take it nice and easy today. Last trading day for me. Tomorrow's chill out day. We've actually got I'll re-mention it on the stream, but we've got stop loss matters coming on
What's
tomorrow.
your cool?
Yeah, so it'll be pretty good. I kind of look forward to Fridays because it's like a nice chilled day, bit of discussion time.
Yeah, especially with you up for the week as well.
Oh
You
yeah,
can chill.
I feel good this week.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the other thing as well is really not like usually I'll be inclined to like say, "Ooh, like we're breaking this 15-minute high," but now like this week I've been, super focused on waiting for strong confirmation. So I was like, yeah, not gonna wait until we actually get a candle closing above. So we'll see what happens here.
Hey.
Morning, everyone. Okay. Yeah, look at the 1 hour time frame. So the 1 hour candle came all the way up, broke the high of the previous 1 hour. I mean, it could have been a trade based on the 1 hour. You would have got like 12 pips with an 11 pip stop, but I still think the move is yet to, happen. We just got to wait at this point because we have resistance here. Plus, the entry on the 30-minute would have been the break of the weak 30-minute high, and I just didn't think it made sense really at the time. It's like gold is broken out of this range. Is it going to do a fake out? I think it's coming back in the range. So Euro JPY closed above this resistance here that we are marked up from the Asian session. So it should continue moving up at this point. Yeah, GJ's just ranging. Seems like there's not a lot of volume. Let's take a look on the 4 hour. 4 hours consolidating hard, to be fair. Previous 4 hours bearish. I think for us to continue down, we would need to break the low of the previous 4 hour. And then for price to continue bullish, I mean it's very messy, but in theory we just need it to kind of come up and break this high. Okay, we'll wait for a few more people, then we're going to do some fresh analysis here. Oh, looks like we got some volume coming in. The 30-minute candle's coming down to break the low of the previous 30-minute candle. But we have a support away, only 6-7 pips away. If we take a look on the 15-minute. Yeah, just sitting on my hands at this point.
Good morning.
Morning, mate. How's it going?
Good, man. You?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Mate, it was bloody freezing this morning.
Yeah, I know. I was meant to get up and go for a run, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, nah, literally, I see the frost outside and I was like, oh, no. Don't know why. I prefer it in the summer, you know, when you wake up and it's like, it's not warm, but it's bearable, you know.
Yeah.
Winter's just savage.
Harsh, man.
Okay. Right, let's start with gold here. I know it's coming back in the range, but let's start from the daily and just kind of work down, see what's going on. So the current daily candle, I mean, it's created a little bit of a top wick. The previous daily candle was bearish, so we are kind of expecting this current daily candle to also maybe continue bearish. So if we think, okay, where's a likely place for price to head off? Well, we left a wick here from yesterday. So if we measure this wick for the daily to flip bearish, it can move around 180 pips down to 1900 if it's going to come down and fill the wick. So let's take a look on the 4 hour, see what we would need to see. Now the issue we have on the 4 hour time frame, in fact, let's just do some fresh analysis here. So the issue we have on the 4 hour time frame on gold is the fact that we see how gold is broken down. We had these two really big 4 hour candles. We made a low over here. Now, when we create a resistance during the Asian session, you would have expected price to come down to retest this low. But it seems as though the 4 hour time frame has actually created a support over here. So for gold to continue down, we would need this 4 hour candle to surpass the low of the previous 4 hour, and then for it to continue moving down. Let's take on the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, so looking on the 1 hour time frame, seems like we had a support here to the left, tried to create some resistance below the support, and then this candle came up to break the high and then closed back above this area. And then we had a 1 hour candle breaking this resistance, but then the current 1 hour candle is coming back in the range. So it's a little bit messy here, but let's take a look on the 30-minute. Yeah, it still makes sense because we had a support here. Candles came down, closed below that, tried to create some resistance, and then price came back up in the range. And then now we're seeing candles coming back in the range this way. So it's a little bit iffy, gold today, but in theory, since this is coming back in the range, I mean, we're creating resistance here either way. And we had a support over here. So in theory, we should just fall to support with gold here. It's like a 45 pip range down to support at 1916. If we take a look on the 15-minute. So looking on the 15-minute, we would want a break of this minor support right over here at 1920, and then if we can break this minor support, there's a much higher probability at that point that gold can continue down to 1916, which is around 40 pips away. So there you go. So that's kind of what's going on here with gold. Let's take a look at the FTSE. Morning guys. So it seems like the FTSE done a break and retest on the daily time frame here, broke above this resistance. Next daily candle continued moving bullish. Let's take a look on the 4 hour. So now focusing in on the 4 hour, we can see we created a support over here. I think this again during the Asian session for price to continue up. So if we're still creating supports on the smaller time frame, there's a chance that we could come up to fill this wick and then maybe even continue on. I know we have no information to the left. So as we can see on the 1 hour time frame, if we remove everything again, what we can see on the 1 hour time frame is that we've created support over here at around 6,880. And then now we are trying to move further bullish. Let's take a look on the 30-minute. Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, you would need like some form of pullback, but it doesn't seem like it's going to do that here. Looks like it's just going to continue moving up. Let's take a look on the 15-minute. Okay, so looking on the 15-minute time frame, we have a support formed on the 15-minute. We have the next 15-minute candle breaking this high. I think since we're breaking this high over here, I think there's a very high chance that we're going to continue moving up and fill this wick on the higher time frame since we're breaking the high of the previous 15-minute. So whenever I see, it's similar to yesterday's setup, price makes a high, retraces from support, and then if the next one can break the high, we can break this minor resistance that was created and then continue on. So we're just going to mark out a little minor support, and then what we want to see, as long as this price is respected, the FTSE should continue moving up. GJ, what's GJ doing? GJ's just ranging here. GPJPY is just ranging. So probably just sitting on our hands a bit for a bit here. Probably going to need to wait for some London Open volume, see if we get a breakout. And then, wait for price to make a low or a high and then see what happens there. But there's no trade here so far. Nothing yet. But it's a Thursday. It's the last trading day for me. I think for everybody else should also be having that same approach, just because you don't want to be thinking, okay, well, even if I lose today, there's still Friday, because Friday is not a day to rely on to make any losses back. So today's the day to be disciplined. If you're already up for the week as well, you don't want to blow it on your last potential trading day. So I'm just going to keep it nice and simple, keep it nice and disciplined, and yeah, see how we get on. Yes. So yeah, GJ is just completely ranging. I mean, the only thing I can think is if this 30-minute candle comes up and closes above. But the only issue I have with that is we came down to break the low of, the previous 30-minute candles, and then to close above. I mean, stop would be not too bad, but still, not really what we want to see. I'd rather maybe the 8 a.m. candle come up and close above, because then we know if the 8 a.m. candle can come up and close above, then there's a much higher probability that, then after London Open, that we're going to have more volume just continue in that direction, because a lot of the times we spoke about London Open sometimes can pull back if we've had too big of a move. And since we haven't had a move, London Open could be the volume that we need to, break through this resistance. So we just have to wait and see. Just have to wait and see. Did we look at Euro NZD? No, I don't think I did. Let's do some fresh analysis here on Euro NZD. So daily time frame, again, we were talking about still printing bearish, still trying to come down. Let's take a look on the 4 hour. So looking on the 4 hour, I would say, just off of first glance here, that if this current 4 hour, since it's created a top wick, if it can break the low of the previous 4 hours, something we see happen on GJ a lot of times, then there's a very high probability that it's going to come down and retest this low that was created. But we would need it to break the low of the previous 4 hour candle for that to happen. We can see how the 4 hour, is in a range right now. It's consolidating. So, but we haven't really had a retest of this low yet. Let's take a look on the 1 hour. So from a 1 hour perspective, we had we had a resistance over here, and around pre-London hours, price came up, closing above this zone. Now this 1 hour candle's coming back to this area. So obviously we would need it to try and respect this zone. I think sells maybe are going to be best below this 1 hour support, and then you have a clean range down to retest this low for around 25 pips. Is going to be good. Let's mark this out. For buys, I mean, you need to start seeing a support formed, and then you could say that we could come up and retest this resistance. So measure this range, just around 20 pips as well. Let's go on the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, now 30-minute, this is where it gets a little bit messy. So let's neaten this up from a 30-minute perspective. So right now, I mean, we have a support over here. We can see now the candles are printing bearish. We have resistance, right over here. And candles came up to close above. This candle came back in the range. So actually, this would have been a nice selling candle to continue back down to support on your NZD. Since this 30-minute candle closed back in the range, this candle right over here would have been a nice sell to continue down to support. But then I think once we break this minor support, then at that point we can continue down to retest this low. Since we already rejected this minor support here previously in the Asian session, maybe you could be a little bit cautious of this zone right here. But then once we're below 1.68900, I think that's going to be the best range to take a trade. It's like a 23 pip range there. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. Because this range here is like 8-9 pips, not really enough range. But then once we break this support, we can ignore this minor area because we already tapped into this zone previously. So we would just expect some volume to break through it and then continue down on the higher time frames, because on the 1 hour we have clean candles, on the 4 hour it's also clean candles. So just at 30-minute there was a bit of issue, but we've already kind of certified this zone by tapping into it to generate liquidity from this price level. So next time we come down to this level, I would be expecting it to break with volume. Let's take a look at Euro JPY. Oh yeah, we spoke about Euro JPY when the stream first came up. The 30-minute candle closing above. The next one's trying to continue moving bullish. 127.350 is the target. So we'll see how we get on. Yeah, 15-minute created support. It's just unfortunate the next 15-minute candle broke the low. Did like a liquidity grab. So you probably want to see it maybe even break the high to take a trade and then continue moving up. It's going to be slightly higher confirmation. But yeah. We'll come back to GCAD. Let's just watch GJ for a sec here, because we are coming into the last 3-4 minutes of the 30-minute candle. Yeah, a potential good entry could be, let's say this 30-minute candle closes above this resistance here, right? Then we could expect London open volume to break this high and then continue moving up. And wherever the candle low is, potentially place the stop loss. But it's not my ideal setup. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, because we're not really sure at this point yet.
Is there any news today?
Good shout. Let's take a look. It's usually I've been forgetting all this week to check news, just because I think because Brexit done, I'm thinking, oh, it's all okay now. There's nothing that's gonna happen. Okay, so we got some news for GBP around 9:30, so I think we're gonna be okay till then. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens here.
Remember to like the stream as well.
Yes, yeah. Like the stream, guys, especially if you enjoy the value we provide here. So it seems as though the 30-minute candle is trying to break above now, which is pretty good. Not really much confirmation. It's trying to break the high of this previous 15-minute candle. Yeah, maybe it's going to run up at this point. Yeah, just going to wait here, to be honest. Just gonna wait for this candle to close. Morning. Have you taken any positions as of yet? No, not yet. Just waiting over here for price to break and close above this resistance, but seems like it's just gonna run with no retest here. Yeah, I didn't want to be. You don't want to be. I don't think it's gonna be a good idea to be buying over here. You know, I think it's gonna be good to wait for this candle to close, see if it can retrace, and then we can have a good day. You know, the only issue I have is, you know, we have a resistance at 14500. You know, so we want to make sure we have enough range to take a buy within this range. So we would ideally want this 30-minute to retrace, and then it's going to be better to take a buy. Otherwise, I would wait for a break above 144.80 or 14500, because then after this range, we have a clean range for 30 pips coming up to 147.50. You know, so that's kind of what I'm waiting for here. You know, we've got two options. You know, we was waiting for the breakout in this minor zone from the Asian session. You know, there wasn't enough volume at 7 a.m. You know, we broke the low at 7:30, but now we're starting to break up in the last, you know, 15 minutes of, so 7:45. So maybe this was the pullback. You know, looking at it from a 15-minute perspective, if price was trying to move bullish, this was a pullback at 7:30, and then 6:45 was the continuation. That's a potential. But yeah, I mean, I don't think if it closes as it is, I don't think there's going to be enough range really here, because if you look at the stop loss, yeah, it's not really enough range at this point. Seems as though,
yeah, that wick down broke the low, put me off.
If we respected the low and then, you know, potentially,
Yeah, I would have taken that.
Yeah, maybe
it would have been a bit similar to the trade yesterday that I took.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, now since it's broken above, I think this 30-minute candle should continue moving up to 14500. And then yeah, it'd be nice to see if we can it'd be nice to see if we can continue. But I mean, the best setup is still gonna be, you know, once we break above 140,500. I mean, if you think about it, the buys could have worked over here, based on the 1 hour time frame too. But the only thing is, you may have had to sit in this trade for quite a while, but it still did play out. So based on the 1 hour time frame, the buys made sense, but just based on the smaller time frames, you can see we had a pullback. So if you was in based on the 1 hour and you see the 30-minute break in the low, you'd be wanting to, you know, like reduce your risk, and especially when you see like 15-minute candles reject like this. But yeah, so it seemed like the trade was based off the 1 hour there. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with, you know, more volume, see if we can break this resistance, and then continue moving up to 140,750 will be pretty good. Hopefully a retest in the first 15 minutes of the next 30-minute candle. Yeah, it seems like he's not going to do a retest. Seems like he just wants to continue moving up. I got in after the engulfing on 140.260, still holding 140.260. Where was this? 142.60. Okay, so you got in. I presume once this candle started to create a bottom wick and then start pushing up, you was expecting it to continue further. That's pretty good. Makes sense. Yeah, it should be nice into profits at this point. What pair is this, please? If you look up in the top left here, it says GBP JPY. So this is pound yen. Pound yen. Okay. Yeah, so looking at the 4 hour now, I mean, if we think about it, the 4 hour time frame is, consolidating. So technically, I mean, I think once we surpass the high of the previous 4 hour, we should continue moving up. But hopefully we're going to get some confirmations here on the smaller time frames that price can do so. So we'll just have to see, hopefully what we want is, price to come up to resistance, maybe close at resistance, create some form of weak bearish candle, right? And then if we get some, if we're expecting more volume to, break the weak candle high, and then we can continue on, something like that, I'm thinking. But I suppose we just got to wait and see kind of what happens here. So just waiting. See what gold's doing over here. Take a look on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, so see the next 15-minute candle rejected this minor support here too. So since this current 15-minute candle is breaking the low, just as I said that, since the next 15-minute candle is breaking the low, there's a chance at that point that it's going to continue moving down. So it seems like that was the move there once this 15-minute candle broke this low. And then, you could have kept stops above the current candle or even the previous candle, but yeah, it would have been like a 1-to-1. But either way, it looks like it reached that support there. So pretty good. What's the FTSE doing? Ooh, retrace. Let's see what happened on the 15-minute. Yeah, so it broke the high, but then actually it came down to break the low. So this is where the trade management becomes very important. So big dump off there for the FTSE. Let's take a look at, we'll come back to GCAD in a bit. Euro JPY. Euro JPY also back in the range. And it did break the high over here on the 15-minute. Again, probability is not working out, I suppose, but at the same time it broke the low and then broke the high. So it was a bit of an indecision candle. Maybe it's something that, and then the next one broke the high and then just came straight back in the range. Yeah, nothing you can do. GJ's pulling back here. What's going on?
I love it when you decide not to take the trade and it does this.
Yeah, it's like, it's a good feeling. But we'll see. We'll see. It could be coming down to create like a bottom wick or do a retest.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think the best move we're gonna have is gonna be above 140,500, because if we look at the daily as well, like if you think about it, we've already come up to fill the wick. So what we really want is it to, break beyond it and continue, because then we know there's going to be some heavy volume. If we start retracing too heavy, then there's a chance, if the daily candle flips, then we can head right back down to 139,900, because this is a support level. So if we put that idea in our heads from a 4-hour perspective, this 4-hour would need to flip in an hour and 50, and it would need to surpass the low. So then that would suggest we need to break support at 140, 170. Let's take a look on the 1 hour. So then that would suggest that this 1 hour candle would need to come back in the range and then break this support here at 140, 200. So yeah, that could make sense. Very well could make sense. But it is retracing now back to the area where we broke out of. Even if we retrace now, we still forgetting, the next 30 minute could create some support, and if the next 30 minute or 15 minutes, something like that, closes bullish, there's a higher probability at that point that we can continue moving up, so yeah, I suppose we just got to wait and see what happens, really. Yeah, maybe 15 minute could work because the candles are pretty big, so we know there's volume now, so even a 15-minute candle could be a good confirmation. But obviously we need to wait and see because each situation is slightly different. So let's just wait and see what happens here. If it starts to come back in the range, then I'm actually starting to think, could the 4-hour start to flip, yeah. I mean, if the 4-hour flips bearish and then we start to break this low over here, then there's a chance the daily is gonna break its own low and then continue back down to this area.
You see what happened in the US yesterday?
Yeah, I saw what happened. Yeah.
See, when I saw that, I thought, was that likely to lead to like US dollar weakness today?
I wouldn't have thought so necessarily, but it could do. I never know, but I would have thought off of the top of my head, I wouldn't see how that would have much of an impact. I would just think something that's a little bit more substantial, maybe, I don't know, like if, Mike Pence got ill with COVID, that's more likely to have an impact on the dollar, because he's the VP.
Okay.
But no one got I don't know. But the media do like to, exaggerate on things too.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Trump supporters. They seem to think, they seem to call them all like Nazis and stuff, don't they? But yeah. I don't know, man. I suppose when they had 5 months of, their country actually burning, they didn't even want to, most of the American networks didn't even want to cover it. They just put it down to they said it was peaceful protest, but they didn't quite want to, you know what I mean? So I think what they should do is be honest about both sides,
Yeah,
they like to be very biased. I'm not one to be political, but I find it a little bit frustrating that, when it comes to just one side of the spectrum, they're the wrong ends of society, but if the other side do anything, it's not, it's just deemed as peaceful, or they just lie, and that's just the truth. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like this was a retest, maybe. Yeah, I have to see how this 15-minute candle closes. If we close back in the range and then break the low, could you take a sell looking at it as a fake out? You could do, but my issue is, do we have enough range? Potentially. We'll have to take a look at it, but it seems as though we're retracing back above the range now, so I'm not really sure. This 15-minute candle's closing like a indecision, but okay, yeah, let's just wait for this candle to close and then we can kind of make a more accurate interpretation of what's going on here. Is GJ your main pair? Yes. Yeah, it is my main pair. I think what maybe more would have had an impact yesterday, to be completely honest, would have been if Mike Pence had disputed the electoral college vote. That would have been that would have impacted the US dollar 100%. But he didn't do it. Which actually I actually thought he was gonna do it, but he didn't.
I was looking at UJH. UJ.
Yeah.
So it seems to be at resistance at the moment, but I was looking to the left, and I could see those sort of like clean traffic from, sort of from where we are right up to, I'd say at least 103, 488.
Okay.
But the idea that I had was that it sort of the 15-minute needed to close above this resistance and then probably take it at the break of the high.
Okay. I'll literally, if you give me 2 secs, I will check out UJ. I'll get it ready here and then.
Sure.
Let me. So just because the 15-minute candle closed on GJ, it seems like it was a break and retest here. So you could have potentially got in on the retest, but I didn't. Sometimes it's not going to work out like that. So I think the best thing was just to, maybe just wait at that point. But it seems like we missed this push up. So I think at this point now, I'm going to wait to see how we react to this resistance. If we close above this resistance and we start to create some, like minor support, then I think it's going to be a good idea to look for some further upside. If we come to this resistance and start rejecting, but on the smaller time frames like the 15-minute, but it's like weak rejections, then we could anticipate, a further volume for price to continue moving up. So yeah, we just have to see what happens here. But yeah, it looks like price is going to continue moving bullish up to 140,500. But yeah, maybe, could have potentially entered it on the retest, but I think it's best to maybe stay out of this particular break and retest, but we'll see. Let me just answer a couple of these questions here, and then we'll look at UJ. Twitter and Facebook have locked Trump out of his accounts. Yeah, I don't really see why they would do that, to be honest, considering I saw a video of him specifically saying he doesn't want any protesters to, do any violence, cause any harm to anyone, have any violence with police. He specifically said that, but they don't want to put that on the media. Don't know why. They'll probably say he encouraged it, but oh well, nothing I can do about it. Once the states certify their vote, it is done. Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see what happens anyway. Nice trade on GPJPY, 20 pips and was out. Nice. Yeah, I think this was a nice break and retest. It just didn't sit well with me at the time. 15-minute candle. Yeah, 15-minute just didn't really. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, just chilling here. We need a big change in media and big tech. Well, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Media aren't held accountable for anything. They can lie and it's nothing happens. What would be your best entry for breakout, shooting star, and engulfing is I don't think there's like a best setup for a breakout. I just like to see a candle come up, close above, give me a good stop loss placement, enough range to the next target, and that's all it is, really enough for me. So I like the fact now, since we're breaking above 140 500, because if you look on the 4 hours also surpassed the high of the previous 4 hour candle. So hopefully now at this point we should continue moving bullish to 140 750. Let's take a look on the 1 hour. See, the 1 hour candle's got 40 minutes left to close. 30 minutes got 10 minutes. 15 minutes also got 10 minutes. So what I kind of want to see, what I might not see, but what I want to see is obviously a break above this area, maybe a support, or even, 15-minute candles to just slowly reject in this zone, but then still breaking the highs for them to continue up. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Okay, let's take a look at USD JPY here. So daily is bullish. It's coming up to fill this wick over here. Let's take a look on the 4 hour. 4 hour created support. I think I think you should start looking for buys basically once this 4 hour candle, it's slightly closed above this resistance, and as the next one was breaking the high, that would have been a good opportunity to start looking for buys to come up and fill this wick. 1 hour, yeah, I think a really good buy, Ibs, would have been the break of this.
Break of that wick, yeah.
Yeah, because if you see here, right, we had a resistance. We had a 1 hour candle come up, close above. We had a retest, a weak 1 hour candle, and then the next one came up just to break the high. And you look left and you see, okay, well, we have a clean range on the 1 hour time frame to this resistance. Yeah, and then actually, now if you look on the 30-minute, you're going to see how the 30-minute created support. So you know how that same setup on EJ we just spoke about, where the 30-minute creates support and then the next one breaks the high? That would have been the ideal entry if I was in buys there, and then you would have been up around like 20 pips by now. Secure positions at 103, 380, and but right now, so you're saying you're looking for buys potentially?
Or because I was thinking, I mean, at the break of this high, only because I'd looked to the left. I mean, I'm in two minds about it. If it broke the high, then I thought that there's clean traffic to the left for it to continue. But the thing that's putting me off is when I was looking at the 4 hour and I thought, you know what, like for the past 3 candles now we've been bullish. Like at some point, we're gonna have to sort of like retrace a bit.
Yeah, the issue I have now is obviously, there's not to the next point of rejection when we look left, because we could reject in this area. Is that there's potentially not enough range. So did you get in, on this break of the high?
No, I didn't take this one. It was just an idea. It was an idea, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it could have made sense, but maybe actually on this particular example, since you had a support forming at this area, you could have maybe got in on the close of the 15-minute and then maybe kept the stop loss below the previous bearish candle, and then if the next candle broke this low, you have a point to reduce your risk. But that's kind of all I can see here. But I think looking back, the ideal buys would have been done over here, but then that's pretty early. Is that too early for you? 7 a.m., 6:30 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe today you say, okay, I missed the move, it happened earlier, but then next time, if you see that setup, around the time you trade, you're going to feel confident executing on that. And just also, you got to think, is for UJ, it's been moving bullish since Asian session, and for UJ to move like 50, 60 pips, there's probably going to be some form of retracement. So you can
Yeah.
even wait for some retracement and then like a further support form somewhere to retest the high would make sense. But you may be waiting a little bit for that to happen. So
Yeah, I think you're right. Nice one.
yeah, no worries. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off for a meeting quick, but I'll be back
Yeah,
shortly.
sure. All right, mate. Take care. Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
See you.
You know what I'd like to see, Harrison?
Salim, how's it going?
How are you doing? You alright?
Yeah, good mate. Good mate.
Yeah, nice one. What I'd like to see is, because obviously we have been consolidating on the 4 hour, and if you look on the daily, we still haven't broken the previous daily top wick. So what I'd like to see is for, let's say, the current 4 hour to close above the daily, the previous daily top wick.
Yeah, the previous daily
Then
high,
maybe
yeah.
then maybe, because that means also we're closing above the daily candle on the one from the 30th December, and then just maybe see like a week 1 hour bearish candle, and then obviously taking a solid trade after breaking that bearish to the top.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the smaller time frames now as well, I mean, the 30 minutes got 5 minutes left here to close, and it looks like it's trying to close above this zone. So I'm personally going to start looking on like maybe the 15 minute to see if we're going to create maybe like a support, or we have like a weak bearish candle closing above this area, because since 7:45 we've been moving pretty bullish for around 25-30 pips already. So I'd like to expect at least one slight pullback on a 15 minute, and then like you say, you know, if the next one starts to come up and break that high, I think we can have a solid trade with momentum to continue up. But yeah, definitely looks like we're going to continue up now. Definitely 4 hours surpassed the high of the previous 4 hour. We're approaching the previous daily high. Once we break that, we'd be breaking through this rejection zone here that we had previously, and then I think we can come up and fill this wick. But I just would like to see a little bit of a pullback so I can get some form of entry here. But you never know, in the last 5 minutes we could just run up, and then we missed the move.
I mean, no, it's breaking the top wick of the previous daily.
We could be off to the races at this point and completely miss it. But hey, I mean, I suppose even if we miss the initial push, that doesn't mean that, you know, we can't retrace, create support, and then retest that high. So that's why I think ever since incorporating that concept into my trading, it's helped with FOMO as well, because when I see initial breakout and I'm like, man, I've missed this move because it happened so quick, I'm like, that's okay, price will make a high, it will need to retrace, and if it conforms support, I can take a solid trade to retest that high. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to kind of see what happens here. So the 30 minute, yeah, it looks like it's gonna close way above this area. But since we had these rejections here previously, I'd like to see some form of, you know, like rejections to this zone, and then like candles closing above. So you know, if we start to see the next 50-minute candles start retracing, because obviously it'd be the new 30-minute open as well, and then, you know, it can close like a weak bearish or something like that, and then the next one breaks the high of that candle, then we can expect more volume to continue us up. But we just gotta wait here for the candle to close.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea, to be fair.
I think the buys were really difficult this morning, just because you know, I know London Open pulls back, but it's like a chance, you know, when it pulls back, it's even gonna, you know, when you see it pull back that much, it's like 50-50 whether it's just gonna come back in the range or it's doing a retest. So yeah, it seems like today's was the retest. I'm just gonna whack my heater on because it is freezing in here.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, 2 seconds.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, looks like we're heading up in the last couple minutes here.
At least if we get like a close above that area, and then maybe the next candle to respect the support, to respect the 140 520 area.
Mm-hmm.
Then if it flips back bullish, we could say maybe it could be a solid.
Potentially, my only issue now is we don't have enough range. Oh, sorry. Oh,
Bless you.
cheers. Yeah, I mean, I think personally at this point, its price has moved up so much. I think we're gonna need to wait for a pullback, because we could get the pullback. Now, like we could get the pullback now, like some support formed, and then the continuation. But if it just keeps on running, then it's too. Not only is it a bit risky to take the trade because you'd be buying at the high, but the other thing as well is, we have a resistance literally 9 pips away, and that's not enough range for me to take a trade. I want to at least see 10 pips, at least a 10 pip range, and that's even a small range. So I think the ideal thing is a nice retracement on the 15-minute time frame, some support formed, and then we can look for further upside. So just because we've had this initial push does not suggest that we've missed a complete move. We've just missed I suppose we've just missed this initial breakout. So we'll just have to see. I'm just seeing what the 5-minute structure looked like. So it seemed
looking at it now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go for it.
No, go.
Oh, thank you. Just looking at it now, I think like a better confirmation for like buys would have been around 143, 315, because we've had the previous 30-minute candle. So we've had the candle from 6 o'clock. So it did break above, but then it closed back under the support. But then the next one, it tried to break down, and then it still did respect the previous support.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for the close of that candle, to close above the 140, 300 area,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been like a good confirmation for a buy. Looking
Yeah.
at the left, that
Clean
big
range.
bearish candle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On
the 30-minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we were kind of looking at. But what I was thinking was, because the breakout candle, the whole breakout candle stop loss was 20 pips. So I always look to see, can my breakout candle be around 10, 12 pips? It's not too bad, right? So obviously I know it was coming down for a retest, but I've tried to steer clear a little bit of, I think you're right. I think there was one good opportunity here that I could have been a little bit more on the ball. And that was, actually, no, I couldn't, because it broke the high in the first minute of the candle. That's what it done. So what I was just thinking was, obviously it came down to do a retest, and then once it broke the high, but then I remembered in real time, it actually came up first and then retraced all the way down and then continued back up. So
Yep.
yeah, but let's say this candle just never broke this high and then came down to do a retest and then broke the high. I would have been like, yeah, do you know what? We could take a buy to continue up, keeping the stop loss below the current candle. That could have worked. But because since it broke the high in the first minute, it made it very difficult to anticipate that was what's going to happen. So yeah, we just have to see.
That's the problem now. Is like if you see like a massive breakout on the first, I'd say on the first 5 minutes of the open 30-minute candle, it's always scary because you don't know whether it's just gonna reject the top resistance and then just come back down, or that's the issue, truly.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. But I think now we're just gonna need to wait to see, hopefully, if it can retrace, create some support, or a weak bearish candle, and then if the next one wicks down and then breaks the high, I think that's also going to be good to continue up. Because I feel like 147.50 is incoming. It's incoming, so we just gotta wait to see how it's gonna get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of options. That's why I've realized, like I was just saying a minute ago, was A lot of people get FOMO on the initial breakout because they're like, oh, price is breaking out, price is breaking out. And actually, I've realized, it doesn't even matter sometimes if you miss the breakout, because the breakout could be the hardest thing to catch. But sometimes, once you wait for price to make a high, or if it's breaking out to the downside to make a low, you know that there's probabilities that, that low is going to get retested. So you can take a trade based on that. Not always is it going to print how you want it to, but that's just the game, and I'm quite happy today not to even take a trade, because I know I'm up for the week. So yeah, there's no obligation for me to feel the need to trade today. So yeah, it feels good to just sit back, relax, wait to see if there's something I like, and only execute if it's something that I feel confident in. Okay, when I started, I focused on a lot of retest and wick entries, but then adjusted to entries where candle closed in my direction. Any thoughts on those two, perhaps? I think obviously both work, and us as traders, if you just focus on retest, then you're going to miss the move when, there's a support formed. If you're just waiting for the candles to close in your direction, then, sometimes you're going to miss the move when there's a retest. So there's a contradiction, right? But what that means is us as traders, we have to be willing to adapt to different situations. So there's some days that I may get in on a retest. There's some days There's some days that I may wait for a support. So it's all situational. And I think that just comes with experience, that comes with time, because you're going to start to see, okay, well, I know that only maybe 2-3 times a week are we going to see any type of retest. I also know maybe, I don't know, let's say once or twice a week there's going to be a support formed. I know that maybe 3 times a week there's going to be a high made, a support, and a retest of that high. So you're almost looking for all of them, but in a sense, you have to be willing to switch based on what the price action is telling you. So I would bear that in mind. Let's take a look on the 5-minute here. So the 5-minute candle closed bullish. Yeah, I don't know, just gonna wait, I suppose, see how the 15-minute candle closes. Yeah, I think this 15-minute candle could continue moving bullish, but I'm happy to miss that particular move, to be completely honest. I'd rather see a weak 15-minute candle or a complete retrace support. I'd be happy for any of those things. I'm also happy to miss this whole push. It's perfectly fine. 1 hour, still got 24 minutes left to close. Is this high frequency Forex? No, this is high frequency Forex. I've never actually heard of that. I wonder if that's probably is the binary options thing, but no, that's not. This is just normal Forex trading. How long have you been trading for? 4 years. Massive breakout only for market makers, not for retail traders like us. Yeah, I mean, you could have got in on this trade, but it would have been a little bit more riskier than usual. But it does make sense. It did make sense to continue up, I suppose. But when you're watching it in real time and you see the price break the high and then retrace, it does put you off. Could you share some insight on how you would manage your trade on 5-minute to reduce risk? I would reduce risk on a 5-minute the same way that I would on the 15-minute, on the 30-minute. So, okay, let's go to like a 5-minute chart. So let's say you wanted to reduce risk. Let's say you took buys when this 15-minute candle, the 7:30 15-minute candle broke the high. Let's just say, for example, how we could have managed risk. So we knew that, okay, so perfect. So we knew the 7:30 candle broke the high. So this is that 5-minute candle. So I would have said, okay, well, if the next 5-minute candle breaks the low of the previous 5-minute candle, I'm going to close 50%, right? Because I want it to respect the candle that broke the high, because that candle should have the volume. So when the next candle broke the low, you would be getting out 50% at like 4 or 5 pips. And then as the next 5-minute candle closes like a strong bearish candle, you can see, okay, well, maybe this trade isn't valid anymore. So this is maybe the point you close another 50%. Let's say the stop loss was down over here. And then you can say, okay, now you've only got like 25% running. And then when the next 5-minute breaks the low of the previous 5-minute, your probabilities are even more reduced. So you could even just close full position at that point, and then you never got full stop loss hit. So that's just a little example. There's plenty of examples, but that's just a small example there. Looking at the structure now on the 5-minute, seems like I think we're just going to continue moving here. Seems like there's a lot of volume. Let's take a look at, yeah. Is what it is, I suppose, at that point. See, a break of this high, there's just not enough range compared to the stop loss, so it makes no sense to do so. So I suppose we're just going to have to wait here. Yeah, then we're just gonna have to wait, see where price makes a high, see if we can get that retracement and a retest of that high. But we've had a lot of volume here this week. Okay, so the next 5-minute candle is coming to a close. It's closing bullish. I would say if this was a 15-minute time frame, I would be like, okay, it's creating structure now to continue moving up. Definitely on the 5-minute, but realistically, probably not going to be a good idea to execute on the 5-minute at this point. But yeah, I think the 5-minute looks like it's creating the structure to continue up. And if it doesn't, then it's good. But if it does, then I recognize the structure there. But ideally, I want a retracement. Okay, let's look at gold. Ooh, gold. 30-minute rejected that support. Take a look on Euro JPY. It's just a mess. Euro NZD just consolidating now. Yeah, it seems like there's only really a bit of volume with GJ. The other pairs, they seem to be having a volume issue. Yeah, if this 5-minute candle breaks the high of the previous 5-minute, there's a probability that it would then continue up. See, since it's broken the high, I think it's going to continue moving bullish. But we'll see. Obviously, I don't want it to, but I think it could. Just have to wait. Ooh. There we go. I think GJ is on its way up to 147.50. Yeah, looks like that 5-minute structure was the move. I have to remember that one for next time. Yeah, the structure completely made sense. Seems like this 5-minute was the liquidity grab. And then once we had this support formed here, this platform, the 5-minute candles could then continue.
See, the issue sometimes is like when you see the price, like continuously, printing bullish. I just personally just find it hard to just like enter like an impulsive trade, because I feel like it'd be much safer to wait for a 30-minute candle or even like a 15 bearish candle. But obviously that's probably based on my own experience, because obviously I haven't experienced the market as long as you have.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes like looking at from where it started printing bullish, it just like scares me to just enter a trade and think that it was just gonna move in my favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you're not confident in a trade, just paper trade it. That's what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a trade that I wasn't 100% sure on, and I just paper traded it. And then I learned without having to put any money down. Yeah, perfect. Look at this 5-minute candle. Yeah, it's headed right up to 147.50. There you go.
And it just
So it looks like now we're going to need to wait for a retracement. Yeah, I'm not going to... Yeah, I wanted to take it nice and easy today. So, I'm cool.
the other way I could have taken this trade is if this break of the previous top wick, if it happened within the last 5 minutes of the 30-minute candle, I think I would have like taken that trade.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like because the 15-minute of the first 30-minute, the first 15-minute of the 30-minute candle did do the move like before the close of the first 15-minute. I think that's why. Again, I think it's just the experience. I think 'cause obviously I haven't experienced the market as long as you did. So
Yeah.
but something it's something new to learn, something new to watch.
Exactly. That's why you're here, to gain that experience. But even me, like I knew GJ was gonna continue up to 147.50, but sometimes you just have to watch moves go, because it's just not. It's not exactly how you would like, and if you're not 100% confident in it, just sit and watch, and that's the best way to learn sometimes. Move the total candles to the right so that the left side is more visible. Why? To keep so space towards right side when there are no candles left side. Yeah, but I'm just focusing on these candles here. This is what matters. What's to the left. This is why I have the targets, because I've already previously mapped out where I would expect price to go based on the information to the left. You should have that already plotted out on your chart. So this is why I'm focusing on what's important, which is what's going on right now. This is old information. This is previous information. This is already printed. So this is what we want to see right now. So that's why I'm zooming in on this whole picture here. So yeah, price has made a high. Well, not yet, because we don't have a bearish candle, but when it makes a high, we'd like to see some form of retracement and then see if we can continue moving up. Missed the trade. I'm going to play game and wait for retest. Yeah, I think if you've missed this trade, you probably want to wait for a retest of the high. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The 1 hour could do a retest, but it seems like the retest was on the 30-minute over here. Or actually, the 1 hour did a retest of this area here, so depends, because sometimes it's not gonna do a retest. But yeah, it looks like the analysis was correct. Once the 4 hour broke the high, it would continue moving up. Just couldn't quite find an entry that I liked. But that's quite okay. Second trade of the week, which played out when candle flipped. Nice. Yeah, nice. Oh, looks like gold is rejecting this area. On the 30-minute time frame, it's rejecting this area. Just trying to create some support. Take a look on the 15-minute. Yeah, looks like it did a fake out of this zone on the 15-minute time frame. One hour candles also trying to close bullish. Not taking them, but journal has. Yeah, nice. Check GBP AUD breakout bearish bullish. Yeah, if you want me to check GBP AUD, then if you could send a chart, then that's gonna be okay for me to take a look. But I need you to send a chart. So the next target here for GJ, I mean, if it continues moving up, the next target over here is 141. Because when we look left, in fact, I'm going to be a bit more conservative. And I'm going to say probably 140, 900 area is going to be a good... Because, yeah, it seems like previously this was some form of important area. So maybe gonna look at this area as the next target. So let's measure this range. I think it's like another 11-12 pips away. Okay. Well, we can't do anything now anyway because we don't want to be buying at the high. Just gotta wait for a retracement. Or if it just continues, that's fine because it will try and create some support somewhere. And then that's the area which, you can look for further upside. Maybe it's just going to continue running. Seems as though it's going to continue running. Okay. Right, I'm gonna go quickly run and make a drink. I mean, there's nothing to do here right now. We don't want to be taking buys at the high, so yeah, I'm gonna go and make a drink quick, and then I'll be back in about 5 minutes time. So, well, hey, we've got a few people in the group here today. We've got a lot of people in the group on the Zoom here today, so welcome everybody. Nice to see everyone back for 2021. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'll be back in like 5 minutes, guys. Bear with me.
Yo, yo. Is Wilksy on?
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
Yeah, how you doing, mate? Did you catch them buys on GCAD?
Nah, man, I'm not trading this week, am I?
Oh, yeah, you did say that. Sorry,
I'll have
pal.
a little look at them, though. One sec.
That is a currency pair you trade, right?
Yeah, I was trading it quite a lot back in like last summer,
Yeah.
but then around like September, October, I actually started to look more at GJ,
Okay.
and I haven't actually gone back to GCAD because it's pretty tough to trade.
Is it?
But I mean, yeah, I mean the entry for me would have probably been in the 15-minute.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I think the candles are quite big though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are
On the
huge.
30. But yeah, that would have been quite a nice trade. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're waiting today.
Yeah. Not sure if we'll get a pullback. Might just keep going.
Yeah, sometimes GJ does that.
Yeah. Just saw your message, Salim. Yeah, I mean, on the 15 minutes so far, we closed bearish, but yeah, if we broke the high of the 15 minute, I think the stop would be too big. So maybe wait for a 30-minute weak bearish or something, and then maybe get on the break of the high on that, or maybe we'll just come back down to maybe like 140, 480, and then create some support there to take buys back up to the high.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hopefully, like the break, like the candles won't be as big, because otherwise, like the stop loss would have been too high to take it.
Yeah, I think we might get a retracement now a little bit.
Yeah.
Shit, Paul's in the chat.
On the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably wants to come in.
Yeah. I was watching
back
him.
soon.
Cool bias from 143. Nice. Yeah, I was looking at those buys at 143. It's just that wick down that put me off.
Yeah, like I was looking at how I could have caught it, and I've seen before, like when a candle kind of like closes below resistance, but it leaves a nice wick to fill. Like usually it gets filled around this time, but it would have stopped you out unless you put your stop below the hour candle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a shame. I think H has got the right idea. I might make a cup of tea.
Yo, Harrison.
He's not here, mate. He's just gone to make a drink, I think.
Oh, all right. Seems like we're bullish on GJ.
Yeah, nice push.
I see Paul said he rejected the 50 EMA support. That's why. Nice trade, man. Paul, what time is it where you are now?
Who you asking, bro? There's no one around.
Nah, Paul's in the chat. Trading with Paul. You ever watch him on the Asian session? It's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's on the
Yeah,
YouTube,
it's-
isn't he? He's not in the chat
Yeah,
yet.
it's in the YouTube chat. It's 3 a.m. there now. That is
Crazy.
shit, man. Man, I was up. I think it was yesterday watching Paul on the Asian session and waiting for AJ bias. I like you actually had the right idea, Paul, but I think the move happened like 2 hours later, which was a shame. Went to bed at 10:30 p.m. Got up at 12:45. Dedication, bro.
You know, the Asian session, I set my buy stop and my stop loss, and I go to bed, and I wake up in like 1 to 5 profits.
Yeah. And sometimes like nothing happens. Sometimes it's good. It's just too late for me, man. Yes, they hit you out. Yeah, I know. I saw that, man. I actually took the same trade. It's such a shame. It flew up after that. I don't know, like, how many pips did that go? AJ. That would have been nice. Better time to be able to hold it. Yeah. During that session when you're doing the Asian, does AJ are both currencies active at that time? Oh.
I think the pound's closed in it. That's right.
Not GJ. I know Paul trades AJ in the Asian session, but I was thinking,
Oh yeah,
like,
it probably is.
are they not? Are they both active though?
I
Because
think so. Yeah.
Man, the move is happening. Where is our guru to help us with it?
Yo, I'm back. What's going on?
There he is.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yo, Harrison,
Yo,
when we taking those buys, bro?
what's that, mate?
Oh, good. When we taking the buys, bro?
Well, looking at GJ now, I mean, I'd probably want this 15-minute candle to close above 147.60, but then do we have enough range? We've got around 12 pip range, potential 10 pip stop loss. I think, yeah. Only thing is, it's the first 15 minutes of the. I mean, I think GJ can continue up at this point. Like, it very well can. But I've taken this trade a couple times, and sometimes it just likes to pull back. That's my only thing that's kind of putting me off. So, I don't know. I'm not sure right now. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe if it breaks the high, then I mean, less range at that point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I might just sit out and watch this move here, see what happens. Yeah, not really feeling the rush to take a trade, really. The other thing as well is we're at a daily resistance. That's the other thing as well. We're at a daily resistance. Take a look on the 4 hour. Look on the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, the other thing as well is we are still at a 1 hour resistance here. 30 minute. Yeah, I mean, the fact the 15-minute candles kind of closed above this area, it does make sense to continue up, but I'm not like 100% confident in it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll come back to that. Was you guys having a discussion while I was gone?
Yeah, I was kind of speaking to Paul.
Oh yeah. Oh, we've got a lot of chat here. Oh yeah, sorry. So Harrison, you trade with Black Bull, right? No, I'm not with Black Bull yet. I'm probably gonna go with them in February, just because I made a deposit back in like November, and to be honest, I just didn't really get round to it. Caught buys at 14300. Yeah, I was kind of looking at the same thing, but just wanted to take it easy today. But yeah, that was definitely a nice move there. The whole thing ran for like 50 pips in the end. But yeah, I'm thinking this 15-minute right now, like, since it's definitely creating the structure to continue further, so definitely like there's a probability that it's going to continue up. There's definitely a probability. My only issue, just not confident in this right now. I'd rather have seen a pullback, to be completely honest. So I don't know. I think I think if it plays out, then we know what the move. We know the second piece that you could have caught the second push, but personally, I think I'm gonna wait and see what kind of happens here. The other thing as well is the previous 30-minute candle came up into this zone and then pulled back below. The 1 hour also done the same thing. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just see what happens here. It rejected the 50 EMA support hard, and my idea was hit 141, so I took it. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what their spreads are. I think it's similar to Vantage, like probably like 1 pip, 1.2 pip, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Not really sure around the London session. I'll have a check. I'll have a check when I actually go and get signed up with them. I'll check it out. But yeah, it looks like GJ's trying to move bullish, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might take it if it breaks the higher.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'm thinking is it's looking like he wants to do is fill the 4 hour wick to the left.
Yeah, it could do. I'm just... See, the thing is I don't want to be getting any FOMO, you know, because I missed this whole move, right? And then I see, you know, one 15-minute bearish candle. So I'm like, okay, so now, you know, I can wait to see if we retrace, form some support, and then continue. Now, when I see this candle closing bullish, it is a signal for further upside, like 100%. It definitely was a signal. But when I take these kind of trades here, I find that the probabilities are always a little bit less, because sometimes what's going to happen is, you know, because it's still at the high point, that it can still pull back, and then you might get a little bit of consolidation, and then you'll get a candle come up, break above this high, and then continue on. So I'm thinking I'm going to sit this one out, personally.
No.
Just because, you know, if I'm going to take a trade, it's going to be something I want to see print, especially as, like, you know, I'm not going to want to risk nearly half of my profit for the week on my last trading day. So I'm quite happy to miss this move out, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if it plays out, then perfect. We know that was the move there. But the other thing as well is we're coming into the last 39 minutes of the 4 hour. Happened the other day where it did continue on in the last part, but again, rule of thumb, sometimes it's going to pull back in that last X amount of time.
Yeah.
We'll see if it continues on and people are in buys. That's pretty good.
I don't know. I've got my resistance. Like to the left a tiny bit higher. So I've actually got that 15-minute closing below.
Okay. Oh yeah, because on the 15-minute there's the resistance here.
I'm based on 15.
Yeah. See, I was looking at it from the 30-minute perspective over here, but it seems like it's moving up over here. So if anyone's in buys, it should be slowly moving into some profits. But
You'd be hoping for a push now in the last 5 minutes to break the 30-minute high, wouldn't you?
yeah, I would say that if the candle breaks its own low in this last 5 minute, 8 minute, I would be taking something off this trade, because at that point then there's a higher chance that it's going to come down and hit your stop loss. So yeah, I'm quite happy to miss this move, to be honest. Like, I've done for my first week back on the charts. Like, I've done a good profit for this week, so I don't really see the. And plus, the other thing as well, we've got, if I remember rightly, we've got news in 8 minutes. That's the other thing. Yes, we do. We have news in 8 minutes. So if news is bad, then people are going to be complaining if they took buys and then news stops you out. It's only yellow folder, but still. Yeah, I'm quite happy to sit this one out. But if it plays out, then fantastic. This week was always about just easing back into the markets. But I think, because I had 2 really good trades to start the week. Yesterday's move was quite happy to sit out. Today's move wasn't exactly how I wanted it to play out. See, the thing is, I would have taken the buys on the retest had this candle come down first. But it broke the high in the first 5 minutes. So when it started pushing up and then retraced all the way down, we were like, oh, okay, well, is that realistically a good option now? But yeah, I don't know. It's been a good week to, come back into the markets and just, what's the word? Just refreshing the memory, how candles print, how they move, and yeah, I think it's good. So you're coming into the last 6 minutes now of this 15-minute candle. So if you're in buys on this, top wick here, you'd be really expecting, price to continue moving up, break that wick over there, and then keep pushing, because you wouldn't want it to, pull back, or especially if it breaks its own low. I think that's the point where it definitely would be cutting out a lot of the position. But it looks like it's pushing here, so be nice to see people making some profits here on the stream, even though I'm not taking these buys. Yeah, they will have ECN account. I think I will join them soon. Yeah, I'll be going for the ECN. To be honest with you, like, I'm in no rush really to do it. It's a very similar account, similar spread. So I'm not really in a rush. It's just because I know that and we know them, and I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm in no rush. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, the other thing as well is, since we're coming into the last 5 minutes, you also want to see the 5-minute low be respected. So you want to see this current 5 minute respect the previous 5 minute low for for price to continue. But yeah, sorry I took a little bit longer. I got a little bit hungry, so I whacked on some crumpets and tea. In fact, I'm gonna munch one right now.
It's the most British thing ever, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I ain't even like one of them traditional British people, but you know what? I do love a good cup of tea, good old crumpets. But yeah, it is typical British, to be fair. All those Americans are probably laughing, going, cup of tea. You ever take FTMO or do you train your own capital? I trade my own capital, Jordan. Yeah, no, I've never taken FTMO. Obviously, for some people, it's great, but for me, I just prefer to trade my own capital. Yeah, I just find it. Yeah, I've never personally been interested in really getting funded. Just wanted to focus on. I suppose just focus on, depositing my own money and seeing what I can do with it, The other thing as well for me, just for me personally, I like to be in control of, what I've got. So whether it's, like you say, my own capital or anything, I want it to be, I don't want to have issues, So obviously the broker's got your money, but, obviously, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Crumpets and biscuits, yeah, you can't beat the traditional English biscuits. I don't know about traditional, but the ones that I like, gotta be bourbons, custard creams are a big one. Digestives, they're alright, but depends on the mood. But I'd say custard creams are the best biscuits that you can have.
Only have digestives when you feel crazy, eh?
Yeah, digestives are when you're feeling crazy or when you're feeling lightheaded. A good digestive it gives you a bit of energy. You know what? The worst biscuits though, I don't even know why they were invented. Or they're just them plain ones. You know them. It's like a digestive, but
Yeah, the rich tea ones.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
dirt. That is dirt.
yeah, it's just like it's just plain. Like, where's the flavor? You
Are
want
they
biscuit.
good? They're good when you dunk them in though. Your cup of tea or something.
Nah, they just go. I don't know, man. They just go soggy.
That is true. Yeah, the worst thing though is when you have a cup of tea and you misjudge how long you've been dunking, and you pull it out and it's just like half a biscuit.
Gone.
Yeah, you're like, fuck. What am I gonna do? You have to go get a teaspoon to scoop it out. Like, I've all been there. All British people know about those struggles there.
The struggle.
Right, so looking at GJ now, I mean, this 5 minute seems to be respecting the previous low. I think once it breaks the high, I think, yeah, he's going to be off to the races there with GJ. But, I mean, yeah, it's nice to just sit back, to be honest, like after a first week.
Yeah, you've had a good week.
Yeah, man, yeah. Like, if I had a good Monday, Tuesday, the mistakes, again, I've made in the past is jumping into trades Wednesday, Thursday, and then having losses towards the end of the week. You get more emotional about it because you're like, man, I had profit. Like, if I were just a little bit more disciplined, I could have avoided that trade. So now, if I'm up for the week, Monday, Tuesday, I'm looking for any excuse to stay out of the trade. Only if I want to leverage my profits with something really good would I stay in. So if we look at the 15-minute candle now, it's closed bullish. So let's say you're in buys at this point. So your entry's here, you moved around 6 pips into profit, it's now retraced nearer your entry. So now you do have a point to manage risk, because if this 15-minute candle breaks the low of the previous 15-minute candle, then you can say at that point, okay, maybe the probabilities aren't going to be there. So you have a point to manage risk. And then what? You're closing 50% in only a 2 pip 2 pip loss, 2 pip drawdown. So you can really manage the trade at that point. Let's take a look on the 30-minute. So the 30-minute candle did close above. So in theory, I think now it's a good point that price should continue up. But at the same time, we've been moving bullish since 14300. So if we measure how much price has already moved up, it's already moved up around 50 pips. So yeah, like it could continue, but sometimes what I see is that it's going to retrace on this area, start to reject, and then closing above, more candles rejecting, closing above, and then you get further support formed, and then you can take a buy. But I mean, we don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm just kind of speculating based on what I've seen happen with this beforehand. So yeah, you can see now this 15-minute candle's coming down. I think if it breaks this previous candle low, if I was in buys, I would be closing 50% right here. Because once it breaks this low, there's a higher chance that it could retrace back to this support. And then, you know, there's a higher chance it's going to hit your stop loss. But if it respects this 15-minute low, then that's perfectly fine. The other good thing as well is since we have a 30-minute candle closing above, right, this is the first 15 minutes of the new 30-minute. So if we're going to continue, right, then what would we expect here? We would expect this candle to create a bottom wick, come up, start to fill these wicks over here, and then continue on. So what would I expect that on a 15-minute perspective? Well, maybe this candle is going to close bearish, and then the next one's going to break the high of this in the second half of the 30-minute, and then continue moving up. So I think that could also be a potential move, being that just a little bit more patient, but who knows? We don't know yet. It could just continue flying, and yeah, I don't know. Let's just see. We'll see. Haha, Legend Paul, appreciate that, mate. Just seen that. I need to jump on the Asian stream one time. I haven't actually been on the Asian session for a while now. Had to, cause obviously, cause I get up a lot earlier than I was ever used to. Had to cut out the Asian session, otherwise I just can't get up in the mornings.
I mean, that's where I first heard you.
Yeah, I think it was.
I was actually watching Paul the last couple of nights as well.
Nice.
He caught a nice one last night.
Oh, nice.
We missed the day before. We missed it so bad, man. We must have gone to take a buy on AJ, and like I think it was like 2 a.m. over here, and I was watching it, and then like I fell asleep, and sort of woke up, and then like 2 hours later, it flown like 50 pips.
Damn. That's mad. Yeah. Asian session back in March, April was just, yeah, that was banging, man. I just remember, you know, there was just so much volume, just catching GJ, just ease. Like Asian was the London session back then. Just so much volume, but.
What do you think changed just because of COVID?
Sorry, say that again.
What do you think's like changed just because of COVID?
I mean, COVID's. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know why the volumes just died down. I mean, because obviously during the Asian session, it's obviously JPY that's the influencer. So it's obviously going to be a correlation with, JPY. Whether that's just Asian markets just not having the volume at the moment. I'm not. Do you know what? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But I'm sure that since it's New Year 2021, I think the volume should start to come back now. Definitely. If you think about it, the volume was there all through the COVID, and then towards the end of the year, it started to die down, which probably makes sense from any trading session, right? Because most of the volume is throughout the year, and then towards the end of the year, institutions start to come out of their longer term positions, whether they're hedging or whatever, and then the new year, they look for new opportunities. So I think we're going to start seeing the volume come back with Asian session. It probably by next week, maybe the week after, probably going to start seeing a bit of volume again. And then by February, I think it should start picking up for a fair bit again. Okay, let's see what any questions we got here. Soggy biscuits low. Yeah, soggy biscuits are the one. As you get older and become more consistent, you will start to trade OPM, other people's money. It just comes with time. I mean, that's obviously up to different people. I mean, me personally, I probably wouldn't, just because it would be that added pressure. You know, you don't want to really put pressure on yourself to have to make returns, you know. Yeah, so I would say that. But, I mean, I'm never going to rule it out, just not anytime soon. I'm not at that sort of, like, level yet. You know, I think you'd have to be doing that consistent for, like, a few years to be to probably do that, because you want to be able to show that you're actually, you know, like almost like a robot at this. You know, you're never gonna yeah, I would just say that. ADR around 60%, still has a bit of room. Yeah, potentially. Gotta support the fam. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Paul. Paul's actually been a good friend since day one. Like, he's always supported everything I've done, and I actually really appreciate that. Nah, Paul's a legend. You and your group should come hang with us. I can send your team the link. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know, Ibs, if you want to jump on the Asian stream with Paul, or
Yeah, I'd 100% be up for that.
yeah, if anyone else wants to do it. I know Salim sometimes like to trade the Asian session. Don't you, Salim?
Yeah, appreciate that,
definitely.
Paul.
I'd like to jump on Paul's stream.
Yeah, nice.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
Love.
perfect. I'll drop Paul a message after the stream, and we'll sort that out for you guys.
Nice, appreciate it,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. See, Paul's a top man. Yeah, Asian volume. Yeah, I think it's gonna come back. Yeah, I would agree. End of Jan, February. I'd say by then it's gonna be picking up. I mean, I'm not sure. Just a question. Does anybody know? Did they ever get a new prime minister? Because I know their prime minister, didn't he have to resign because of health conditions? Pretty sure he did. So I don't know if that has an effect, but it's probably gonna have some form of investment effects. You know, if that political stability is not there, it's obviously a big thing when it comes to investment decisions. But yeah, so 15-minute candles obviously retracing. It's kind of coming down. Not really sure, but I would just say if it does break this previous 15-minute low, for those who are in buys, I would be closing positions. See, this is kind of why I wanted to stay out of this trade, because look, it moved 6 pips into profit. It's now pulling back. See, this is exactly what I was worried about. Man, it feels good. It feels good to really, you know, see this and just not really feel inclined to take it at all. But yeah,
I'm gonna say as well, that last 30-minute didn't make a high, so
that's true.
could be the first sign.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that's a point. So since this 15-minute candle has broken the low of the previous 15-minute candle, I personally would start to reduce your risk, because, you know, you had 6 pips in profit and now you're in a drawdown. So, I mean, it can still go your way. But if you close 50% right here, let's say in a small loss, and you let the rest run, and then now it starts to, you know, continue back up, you're going to be still in profit, you know, because your 50% was what, like minus 3 pips, and your other 50%, if you let ride to 10 pips, you're still going to be in profit for this trade, you know, but you're safeguarding yourself that you don't take some huge loss just because you're presuming that it's just going to keep continuing up because of this one 15-minute confirmation candle. So yeah, I feel good staying out of that buy. Yeah, I was expecting it. When I saw this big 15-minute rejection, I was like, okay, nice. So now we could potentially start to retrace. So I don't know. I think, so let's say this structure happens here, right? Let's say this zone, we can remove this zone, and let's say it starts to pull back. The next area that we would want to see be respected is this support right here. So if we retrace back to this area, and then you start to see candles coming down, but then closing above, rejecting, coming down, closing above, and then we start to see bullish candles forming here again, then you can say, okay, well, we made a high at 148.20. We've retraced back to, you know, an area of support, and now we can continue up. So now you measure this range, and this is like 13, 14 pips. And then once we break this high, you could then say, okay, well, I'm anticipating it to continue to 140.880, which is like 20 pips away. So now you have the range for the trade. So yeah, I suppose we just have to see kind of what happens here. I think there's a couple of conditions. You'd want this 30-minute to close above this area for your buys to still be, your other 50% to still be valid. You'd want candles to be closing above. And then, yeah, I think it should be good if it stays above. If it retraces, then I would say this is the zone that we would want to be respected for price to continue. So we just have to see. But yeah, I'm happy for a no trading day, to be completely honest. I'm quite happy to have a no trading day here today. So we'll just keep an eye on the 15, see what's kind of going on here. I think if this 15-minute candle closes, you know, below this area, then maybe that's the point you may want to close a little bit more off. Just because, you know, at that point, it doesn't really make sense from a 15-minute standpoint for price to continue higher, because we've engulfed partial of this move up. Took the dumbest trade ever 30 minutes ago. Wanted to catch the retracement, but it flew up. Yeah, see, one 15-minute candle is not confirmation for price to continue down. You know, we never know whether it's going to retrace or it's just going to continue, because plenty of times we see a lot of volume create just one bearish candle and then we continue. Other times it's going to create one bearish candle and then the next one's going to correct the whole move. You know, it just, yeah, I would say if you've seen a bullish breakout, right, I would say it's never, well, it's not never a good idea, but I wouldn't recommend trying to look for a sell when we hit the next resistance, because when we hit the next resistance, I would say, okay, well, now you need to wait for a retracement, maybe a support, you know, something that's going to give us signal that price should continue with the breakout trend, right? Because remember, you know, when price breaks out, it's going to do one or two things. It's either going to come back in the range because it's a false breakout, or it's going to continue because it had the volume to break out in that direction. So you're anticipating either that there's going to be a continuation of that breakout, or you're anticipating that, you know, we're going to retrace, create some support, and then we're going to retest the high. So that was something I was looking at. It just never happened. This candle did close bullish. I've made this mistake plenty of times, taking buys over here. It does work out sometimes, but I think in this particular example, just because of how much we already moved up, I don't think it made sense for me to take those buys. So yeah, I think, yeah, let's just see how this 50-minute candle closes and then we will reassess. Only 0.30% or 0.3% loss though. Yeah, there you go. So if you manage your risk, or if you got out with a smaller loss than you anticipated, then in my opinion, that's still a positive. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Your patience is on a different level. Appreciate that, Jordan. Thank you. Do you think on the day chart we could get to 141.2 area? See, the thing is we could, I think we could get up to, yeah, 141 is going to be a more realistic, because this was like where this is where the 31st of December candle closed bullish. But I think my issue is that we are at a daily resistance right now. That was the other thing throwing me off. You know, is a 15-minute candle a strong enough confirmation that we're going to break through a daily resistance? That's the other thing. But I mean, we anticipated all the way from here that GJ would continue up and mirror this candle. So I mean, we knew that was going to happen, but I didn't know whether we was going to break through this resistance yet. It may need Friday's candle to do so. We may need to wait for next week. We're not really sure. The other thing as well is we're coming on the 4 hour. There's this huge rejection wick. Now we haven't quite obviously come right up into it, but I mean, in theory, you know, we're anywhere in this. It's okay. So when we look at candles, anywhere in this vicinity, you can reject. Okay, we know that because we look at what happened previously. We rejected here, rejected here, rejected here. Now we're seeing price push up. We could reject anywhere in the zone. Not to say the 4 hour is going to come back and close back below, but what may happen is that this 4 hour is going to close in this zone, and then it's going to pave way for the next 4 hour to break through the zone, right? Because we didn't have the volume initially to rip through. And as you can see now, I can see that price is starting to pull back below that support. So let's go back to the smaller time frame, see what's going on. But yeah, the 4 hours looking more and more like it's going to retrace a bit. If we look at the 1 hour, we've got 13 minutes left for the 1 hour. Again, it failed to break the previous high, like Kelsey pointed out. It's now coming back below. If we look at the 30 minute also, it's still respecting the low, which is good. But if the 30 minute closes back below this area, I mean, the buys become difficult. So let's take a look on the 15. See the 15 minute candle, it came down and it broke this low. So that would have been the other point. I would have reduced even more risk, because now you had 6 pips in profit, and then instead now you were 6 pips in drawdown, you know. So we'll have to see. I mean, if this 15 minute candle closes bullish here, this is maybe the point where, you know, there's going to be further confirmation. We can continue higher. But you have to wait for candles to close, you know. But if you've closed 50% here and then you reduce your risk again because we broke this previous low, then I would say, okay, now leave your rest of the position to run, because if this candle flips and then just starts to fly up, you know, you could maybe actually secure with a break-even day or even just a little bit of profit. It's better than taking a loss, trust me. So that's the best thing. But we'll see. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was the right thing to stay out of this.
UJ ended up filling that 4 hour wick.
Did it? Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Oh, it did continue moving up. So it did a liquidity grab here on the 30 minute. Let's take a look on the 15 minute. So I can see where the buys could have potentially been. So okay, look at this structure here, right? So you see how, again, it created support here, and then we was anticipating it to continue up, and then it retraced, right? And then remember I said on GJ, sometimes what's going to happen is it's going to pull back, it's going to consolidate for a bit, and then you'll get a 15-minute candle close above. It's exactly what just happened on UJ. So it pulled back, it consolidated here for a bit, and then this 15-minute candle at 8:45 came up and closed above. So now you would anticipate that this rejection wick should get filled with momentum. So that actually would have been a really nice buy there. But yeah, I think I think journal that, you know, look at this structure, and then for next time you'll catch that move. Yeah, I don't think GJ buys are looking good at this point, personally. Take a look on the 5 minute. Yeah, 5 minute structure is looking, since it's broke this 5 minute low, I think it's gonna come down to the support. Yeah, I don't think the GJ buys are looking good at this point. You know, the worst thing is being 5-6 pips in profit, thinking, you know, that it's gonna continue higher, and then you start sitting in drawdown. That is the worst thing. You know, the psychology of that. Yeah, it's not good. I used to do that all the time. Just let it go into profit, and I sit in drawdown, and I'll just be kidding myself. I'd be annoyed, you know.
It's the worst.
Yeah, so that's why when I'm in profit, I'm always seeing, okay, well, I don't want it to come back into drawdown. So how can I manage the trade at this point so I don't, you know, go into a loss?
So you're not going to be trading tomorrow then?
No, I don't trade on Fridays. Fridays, I just find that on Fridays probabilities are always lower. So even when I've seen really good setup on Fridays, like there's a chance it's just not gonna work out. Just because it's like the end of the week, it's the end of the trading week. There's technically like less liquidity, less volume, but the odd Friday moves super good. There's the odd Friday that just does a crazy move, but it's just rare.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a guest coming on tomorrow. We've got Stop Loss Matters coming on tomorrow as a guest, so that'll be good. I think he's another London session trader actually. So, but yeah, I like Fridays because it's a day that we can have some discussions and still watch the charts, and then occasionally there's gonna be, occasionally there's gonna be a good move, but we'll see.
CJ's pushing, boy.
Yeah, GJ. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with GJ right now. Yeah, I think we just have to wait for this 15-minute candle to close.
Can I ask you to have a look at like the higher time frame of UJ as well? Because like we've been in a downtrend for such a long time, and I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't know if it's reversing now, and we're starting to see some more like bullish momentum moving forward after the past few days.
Okay,
A couple of days.
Let me take a look on the monthly. Yeah, so looking on the monthly, I mean, I would say that, okay, potentially, okay, so when this monthly candle opened in January, it gapped down and it already moved clearly straight down, right, since the month opened. Now, this monthly candle could be coming up to create a top wick. So let's just say that it could do that. Let's take a look at the weekly. So the higher time frame structure is 100% bearish. And I think a good target for the higher time frames is going to be to, fill this wick over here at 101,200. Let's take a look at the weekly. Well, let me just quickly check how long we got left here for GJ. 7 minutes. Okay. So if GJ is pushing up. If it breaks this high over here. So I hope people left some positions running, because if it breaks this high, then it can continue. But there's just not enough range for me to buy at this point. It's like 7-8 pips. Take a look on the 30 minutes. Sorry, Ibs, I will come back to you.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh yeah, it seems like. Oh no, we need to see how the 15-minute closes, I think. So looking on the weekly, I mean, so weekly seems to be at a support level right now, not really breaking down, but this current weekly kind of broke the low. It's now coming back up in the range. So I think higher time frame is a little bit difficult to say because it's a little bit like messy, but in theory, it could hit the top of this range, consolidate for a bit, because obviously, there's 4 weekly candles in a month, and then start to head down. But let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, maybe daily's gonna pop back up to this resistance over here. But it's kind of at an area where it could reject, because this is a previous support. But just looking at it off glance, I mean, I think if it's gonna continue running up, then it should hit this daily area 103,800, which is only 25 pips away actually. So that could make sense, because if you think about it, how candles move is like, let's say the monthly time frame. We're going to be looking at the monthly now, and you're like, oh, it's moving bullish. And let's say we come back at the end of Jan and it went bearish. You're going to say, okay, so it did create a liquidity wick. So where did it need to go for it to go bearish? And then when we look on the daily, we can see that this was a strong area because we had a support here previously. Then these candles came down, broke down, retraced to create resistance here. So maybe we need to retrace back to this resistance to continue down. Now, for the higher time frames to go bullish, right, and for some reversal, because again, okay, see this daily time frame, we broke support, made a low and retraced. The same thing could happen on the monthly, broke support. So we had support here on the monthly. Remember, candles move the same on all time frames. So look, this monthly candle came down, broke support. We had a weak bullish close. We had a resistance form. So it's continuing down. It could be retracing all the way back to this area. You know, we don't know. So if that concept's to be true, it needs to surpass the high of the previous monthly. Now, when we go on, let's say the daily, we're going to see, okay, well, where could we say UJ is going to correct itself more? Well, if it breaks this daily resistance, this was a previous support. So if it's closing back above a support, there's a higher chance it's going to continue up, and then you have another range here, and then you would expect it to fill the top of this range within this consolidation area on the daily time frame. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice one, man.
Yeah.
GJ's broke the high as well on the 15-minute. Just if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, didn't see that, missed it. That's fine. But yeah, see, that's important. Why to leave a portion to not necessarily hit stop loss, but to see if it does continue in your direction. Because if you did leave a portion, you know, you managed your trade when it broke the low of the previous 15, you took another 50% off when it broke here, and then if you leave the rest to run to 148.80, then you know you're going to be pretty good to at least come out with a break even, or you know, at least cover some of the loss back at worst way. So, but yeah, there you go. There we go. Yeah. So I think since the 15-minute candle's obviously got 2 minutes left, it's very probable that it's just going to keep pushing. But at worst way, I mean, it closes bullish. There's not enough range for me to want to take buys at this point. I personally think like I've missed everything here for today's session. So to be honest, I think the only thing that may happen is, like, let's say when we come back at pre-New York, if we see the 30 minutes like retracing heavy, that's maybe, but I mean, I'm not really inclined to stick around for long after the stream. So yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. Let's just see what happens here. So at least I was here for moral support and guidance for anyone who was in the buys. So there you go. So yeah. Right. I'm just gonna run to the toilet real quick. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Oh, so it looks like the 15-minute candle here on GJ came all the way up to 148.50 and then retraced. Let's take a look on the 30-minute. See, my only issue now for price to continue up is the fact that this 30-minute, yes, it made a higher high and it respected the low, but it closed like a doji candle. And when I've taken these buys before, I've taken these buys many a times, and sometimes it's going to play out. It's going to continue because you have support here on the 15. The next one's going to respect the low and continue. So that also could have been a potential second opportunity to take the buys. But what I find happens a lot of times since we have a weak bullish candle closing after these. Okay, so look at the candles here. Let's do this, right? So we had a nice big strong volume candle. Then we have a fairly big, but left quite a big wick, but still a big volume candle. Then we have the next candle come up to fill the wick, but smaller body. Now the bodies are starting to get smaller, and now we have a candle closing bullish, but now it has a really small body, right? It has a really small body. It closed like a doji, closed like an indecision candle. So what I see happen a lot of times is this candle, right, it's going to give you the indication that it's going to continue moving up, but sometimes it's just going to completely drop, and it's going to break this low, and then it's probably going to hit this 15-minute support area at 147.00. That's what I see happen a lot. I've taken those buys, and yes, like technically speaking, there's still the probability for it to go up, and I think on this particular occasion it could, just because of the way this 15-minute structure is working. But I mean, it broke the high and the low. That's the only thing I don't like. It closed like a doji. But I mean, this could be the one time, well, not the one time, but this could be one of those times that it does play out. But a lot of times when I've taken these buys beforehand, the next one just comes right back down below the range. But we'll see. If it does continue up, then fantastic. Did anybody get in these buys once the 15-minute candle closed bullish? In fact, I said I was waiting for the whole time. I said if we start closing above, create some support here, then we can continue. So I should have potentially been in buys. But the fact that 30 closed like a doji, that's what put me off. So I was like, yep, I've seen this one before. I've been burned on this one before. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you got in on this bottom wick, back in profits. Yeah, maybe it's going to be the one time it plays out. Seems like it. What's the 1 hour candle doing? Yeah, seems like it's going to continue. The new 4 hour. See, it's also the new 4 hour. It's the first 5 minutes of the new 4 hour. Oh, seems like this is the one time. This is the one of those times it's going to play out. There we go. So since it's broken the high, I think it's going to continue on to 148.80. So if anyone left the the other 50 the portion of the trade running, then you should be securing. Oh, look at that. That was a quick move there. Yeah, it seems like that was the push here. This was the move. We created support on the 15-minute time frame. Next candle went bullish. Yeah, probably, yeah. It's just the fact that 30 closed like a doji that put me off. It's the only thing that put me off. But then actually, if you look at it from a 15-minute, it did really make sense. But oh well.
Also, the hour managed to close above resistance. So maybe that's another confirmation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was the 30 that put me off, to be honest. Because I said, like, if this 15-minute candle closes bullish, then there's a potential opportunity for then price to continue. But then when you look at the 30-minute, I've seen this happen so many times, and then the next candle just comes straight back down. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy to stay out of all of this today and just you know, observe and journal. So what I'll do is I'll do what I did the other day, and that I'll mark out on the chart when I post it in the breakdowns channel, all the potential areas that I think buys could have been taken. But yeah, I think this was good, but not great. You know, it was like if I was to rate it like a A, B, C setup, I would say it was like a B setup, like a B minus. You know, if the 30-minute close a little bit stronger, it would have been a B plus setup. If it retraced and then created this support here like this, you know, somewhere over here, then it would have been an A setup, because then we have an 80% probability that it's going to retest the high. You know, the other thing as well, it was the first 5 minutes of the 4 hour. So the first 15 minutes of the 4 hour as well. You know, that's the other thing. So there's all these little factors that just made it a little bit more difficult. But then I suppose, you know, you got to focus on the smaller time frames, I suppose. Okay, apparently UJ is retracing. So the 4 hour candle came to a close on UJ. So if we look at the 4 hour, we had a resistance over here. Seems like the 4 hour candle broke this resistance. You also have clean traffic on the 4 hour coming up to 103.850. Take a look on the 1 hour. Yeah, the only thing is on the 1 hour time frame, there's a resistance right here, which we closed right at 30-minute. I think a pullback's going to be good, because if it pulls back, then, you know, when it's coming into New York session, there's going to be more volume with like USD. But yeah, we'll see.
Definitely one going in the journal. That and GJ today.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think today was actually pretty hard. You know, it looks like once it's printed, you look at it and you're like, man, it was just simple buy. But really, like when it happened, you know, this 15-minute candle broke. And then at 8 a.m., we always expect a little bit of a pullback, which it did do. But it broke the high first, which I was like, ooh. Because when you see it break the high, you're expecting volume to continue. But then you see this big pullback drop, and it puts you off. You know, when you see a big bearish candle coming all the way down, you know, realistically, are you gonna want to press buy when you see the candle red? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's easy to look back at it like after and be like, oh, look, it was so easy. You could have called it here. But when you're actually trading, like, there's no emotion in that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's why sometimes that's what I realized actually the other day. You know, like before Christmas, there was 2 trades that I took that I wasn't, like, say today's example, I wasn't very confident in the trade, right? But before Christmas, I still executed and I lost. So then I had to look at myself and say, well, I made that decision, so accept the responsibility, of course. But then I realized when I went to paper trade the other day, actually, if I'm not sure, just paper trade it. Why do I need to put my money on the line? I don't. If I'm not confident in the trade, you don't need to put your money down, you know, because then I realize, you know, if I do that, if I put my money down and I'm not you know, at least like 90%, 80% confident, then it's gambling. And that's also getting FOMO, you know, because you should have the ability as a trader to say, well, it's not what I like, so I'm going to stay out. So actually I made, once I did that, it was almost like a self-realization. I was like, wow, well, you know what? If there's ever a time I'm like unsure, or if there's ever a time I'm like, you know what, I haven't quite seen this happen before, probably best to stay out, paper trade it, you know, put it in your head, you took the entry, where would you reduce risk? It's perfectly fine. Because then you can say to yourself, okay, well, let's say you only have 1 win for the week, but you took 2 paper trades and they were both wins. You could say, okay, well, if this same similar, you know, setup happens again, I could potentially have like 3 wins in a week because I paper traded it. So, yeah. Paper trading is always the best when you're first looking at a pair as well, testing out ideas, all of that stuff.
So, do you mind me asking what percent you're up for the week, H?
No, not at all. Percent wise, ooh, that's a good question. God, my maths isn't very good, but I know that I've done £550, which is roughly, I would say that's around, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5%. I'd say roughly.
Decent.
Yeah.
Man, for the first week.
Yeah, for the first week is pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, it's only going to start picking up like more so next week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, 100%. I think it was just like being in profit on the first week, and then when you see something that you're not quite sure of on a Wednesday, I was like, okay, well, just, probably, yeah. So I paper traded yesterday's, and then today's. I was always like, okay, since I paper traded yesterday's, it's important for me to be disciplined today as well, because imagine on a Thursday taking a loss, and then half your profits for the week is gone. So then I was like, okay, well, it's probably important for me to be extra disciplined today, and I sat out of these big moves, and I didn't get FOMO. So I think it's still an achievement in itself.
Well played.
Yeah. But next week will be a good week. I can feel it.
Hopefully,
next week
man.
will be good. Oh no, I definitely will. Because even look at the daily, like it's still like mess. So when we start trending again and properly moving again for the new year, we're gonna see some nice
moves.
Yeah. This is still mess if you think about it. I mean, look at that for mess. Like, look at all these.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Yeah.
Pullbacks and like, yeah. But then this is the type of these big clean moves. These type of moves trending. This is what's gonna happen. These big sell-offs. These big this time of year was perfect. I mean, look at that from a daily. It looks like a 30-minute just perfectly. June, July, August. June was good. That's still June. May was good still. April also good. We had some nice trending days there. March was perfect. We had so much volume in March. I mean, look at that. From February all the way to the end of March. Wow. So yeah. I know there's still some traders that are still not even trading this week. They're just still waiting to. I mean, Kelsey's not trading this week. He's waiting till next week to start getting back in. So, yeah, like these moves, these are like just, yeah, these happen just regular basis every week. Always going to be volume with the market,
Yeah, I think Roger's trading next week as well.
Yeah. Oh, did he not trade this week?
Nah.
He's been live streaming though, hasn't he?
Yeah, still been doing the streams, just hasn't been trading.
Oh, right, okay.
I need to remember if you can sort me out to get onto Paul's stream later.
Yeah. I'll sort you out. Don't worry. I'm gonna message him, and then I'm sure he can. I mean, I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll work it out. So what I'll do is when I get the link or whatever, I'll put it in our Discord Asian session chat.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then whoever wants to jump on can jump on, and do their thing with
Are you not? I know you don't trade at that time, but you're not up at that time because I remember, like, obviously, as I said, like that's how I came across you. That was so. Like, I know you used to deal with that through that session, or at least you'd be on it for a bit and watch what was happening. But
Yeah.
not really on it anymore.
No, not really. I do the pre-Asian session analysis still. So if you're still trading Asian session, like, you know, you can watch the pre-analysis. I do it around 10:30, just before, like, yeah, so around 10:30 p.m. our time, I'll do the pre-Asian session analysis. But to be honest with you, because I'm getting up early for London. See, when I was looking at Asian, I wasn't trading London then. So that's why I could do it, because I'll be waking up like now, you know, I could stay up till like two in the morning, like it wouldn't be so bad. But now, like,
I remember that now. I used to be like, because I used to listen to you guys trading, and then I'd be like upset in the morning because I'd wake up and I'd be doing London session, and it was only really Monty that does London. I don't know, it just wasn't. I didn't really get into like what he does so much. He's a good trader. Just found it a bit more difficult to follow. But so I was a bit gutted at the time. I was like, wish these guys would do London.
Yeah. I decided London was just the best suited for me. Like, I'd always come on the charts and be like, man, like, you know, this move here that I missed when I was asleep, like, it made so much sense. Like, it clicked, you know, because that's the way that I trade. I look for breakouts, I look for retests, I look for all these things. That's how literally the first thing I ever got into trading was breakouts. So, like, when it comes to breakouts, I've pretty much seen it all now. Much seen it all. But yeah, no, I don't do the Asian anymore. I can't get up if I stay up that late. But I think I'm gonna come on one time, actually. Definitely come on up. Oh no, he's not on.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. Maybe if there's like a day that, that I think probably if there's a bank holiday for the London session. Then I'll come on the Asian, because then I know, okay, well, I can just like have a little lay-in or whatever. But yeah. But yeah, nah. I mean, I think Asian is good to plan out for.
Yeah, definitely.
Candle, like, because when I do the pre-Asian, like, I know a lot of traders don't trade Asian, so they might not watch that video for the group. But actually, if you watch the pre-Asian session, you're gonna see how I break down how the previous daily candle closed, and you're gonna see what my analysis is for the new daily. So the new daily includes Asian, London, pre-London, pre-New York, New York, NYC, right? So if you watched the pre-Asian session analysis for last night, I spoke about, because the fact this daily candle closed bullish, it's a very high chance we're going to come up, fill this wick, and then continue on to 14800, which I was expecting to happen. Then I looked on the 4 hour, and we knew that the 4 hour was consolidating. So then I spoke about, okay, well, for sells, if the daily is going to go down and come back to this support, there's one condition: it needs to break the 4 hour low. If price is going to continue on the daily to where I said on the daily time frame, then we need to break this 4 hour high. So you get that information for the Asian session, but it's not. It's for the whole intraday, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, if Asian just ranges, which obviously last night didn't do well, it had a lot of volume at 2 a.m. we can see here, but I think at 12:30 was good opportunity for buys. That was a good push there. But so when I wake up, I know that, okay, well, more than likely Asian's not gonna have done the breakout. It's gonna be in the London. So the analysis is still the same, if that makes sense. Unless the move happens in the Asian session, which then obviously you have to just adjust for.
Yeah, just do fresh analysis in the morning.
Yeah. But there we go.
Yeah, man, I think I'm going to jump off, but thanks for today.
Yeah,
good
no
stream.
worries, mate.
Have a good one, yeah?
Yeah, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You too. See you tomorrow, man. Take care.
Mate. Yeah, I think I'm going to be jumping off here soon too as well. Probably like 10 more minutes time. We haven't really looked at any other pairs today. We were so focused on GJ here. So it looks like gold did continue moving down. It's actually broken the support So gold has actually broken the support in 1916. So on the 30 minute, oh yeah, since we're breaking this 15-minute low, I think gold's going to continue down. Yeah, we see this happen all the time, this type of move. Gold should continue down. Yeah, I think a good target's going to be 1911,500. Because if you look on the 30 minute as well, you know, the 30 minute, this is like a break and retest. So if you take a break of the 30 minute low, keeping the stop above the current 30 minute, and then expecting it to continue down, even above the current 15-minute candle, still going to be good. Yeah, gold's going to head off. Yeah, gold's heading off here. Definitely. Yeah, we'll see what happens there with gold. Euro NZD. Wow, rangy session today. Yeah, awful session. EJ just mess. EJ's not been moving well since the start of the year. There you go. Right, let's answer some questions here. I got buys from the initial breakout, closed at 10 pips. I thought would pull back more so I could get in again. Yeah, I think it was pretty hard, but I mean, looking back, I suppose it made sense to get in on the retest, I suppose. So just have to remember that. Caught the buy real late entry. UJ looks like it's pulling back. Oh yeah, we looked at UJ. Is there a reason why the markets are not great in December? There is a reason. I can't really tell you like why that. I can tell you a little bit. But obviously I'm not an institutional trader, so I'm not gonna make out I know more than I do. So I mean, as far as I know with how December kind of works, is there's always gonna be higher volatility and lower liquidity. So what that means is there's going to be higher volatility. Reasons are, again, I was explaining earlier, you know, because institutions is coming to the end of the year, they're going to start pulling out of positions. So you start to see more volatility within pairs because there's going to be more ranging. So when there's more liquidity, that means that in that sense, there's more volume, really, because when there's more liquid, like for example, this move down here was what we call a liquidity grab. So when we have a liquidity grab, that means that more buyers were getting into the market at a better price before it's going to continue up. So when there's lower liquidity, that means there's going to be less buyer. Let's say in this particular example, if this was in December, this move may not have been as big because there's less buyer liquidity in the market at that time, but it may be more volatile because there's less volume to just continue with these big clean moves. So that's kind of just the gist. It's all to do with just the big players in the market. They go on their Christmas holidays. Again, like they're getting out of positions towards the end of the year, looking for new positions for the new year. That's kind of the basic way of putting it. Obviously, it gets a little bit more in depth than that, but to be honest, that's all I kind of need to know. I think that's all you kind of need to know. So from my experience, next December, I'm not trading. I'm just watching. Because 2020 December, it really, it burned me a bit. I had a couple losses. Because the previous December wasn't that bad, but this December was. And, I should have realized, there was so much volume in 2020. There had to be at some point at which, volume was going to start to die out. So, but yeah. It's like GJ's pulling back here. Yeah, then we're going to stay on like another 5 minutes and then we'll call it a day here today. But yeah, see, this is what I was worried about because of that previous 30-minute candle. I think it was just one of those ones where the 15-minute time frame was the confirmation to move higher, but in hindsight, it was always going to pull back, which is what we're seeing now. Whereas other times it closed like a doji and then it just continues down straight off the bat. But it seems like this time it wanted to wick up into this area here and then start to pull back. So I think now it's making more sense. Yeah, see now, look at the 30 minutes starting to pull back. This is what I was concerned about with this doji. But actually it moved up first and then now starting to pull back. Yeah, see, this was exactly what I was thinking it was going to do. But actually, if we look, maybe the fact because the 15-minute candle did create a support, we had to have some push up. And then it looks like this is the price where it wants to pull back from. So, makes sense now. So I suppose in hindsight, like, it was a good trade, but I kind of anticipated this pullback would happen based on the previous 30-minute. So, I mean, you could, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was best to stay out, but it still made, yeah, it made sense to continue up. But like I say, like, I was really expecting this to happen because this has happened to me so many times when I've taken buys up over here. There we go. So if we look at the 30-minute candle now, this is kind of what I was worried about. This big retracement, this pullback, seems as though price is doing that. So yeah. Japanese official meeting up to discuss as JPY strengthened, Japanese exporter losing money. Interesting. Interesting. Look at the weekly candle. Whoa, look at that wick on the weekly. Weekly just flipped bullish. Yeah, I think next week we're going to see some good volume, because think about it. The weekly, if this weekly starts to close, you know, somewhere around 141, 140, anywhere basically above 140, then next week I think we're going to continue moving up back into the 141s and even maybe even reach 142. Okay, so I think we're going to call it a day there, guys. Thanks everyone for coming on to the stream today. So let's just do a little quick recap of everything here. So obviously gold. Oh yeah, the gold sells played out perfectly right to that target at 1911. Yeah, I've seen this happen many a times on gold. Yeah, 15 pip stop, 40 pip profit, 70 pip move. Yeah, gold sales were... See this happen all the time on gold. Gonna journal that one as well. Let's keep that screen there. FTSE corrected that move up from the Asian session. Didn't really look at GCAD today. GCAD's been moving a bit weird recently. EJ was also just... Yeah, I think there was a good sell opportunity maybe at 10 a.m. But there was just so much mess to the left. Like, it made no sense. So... probably best to stay out of that one. Euro NZD also just mess. So I think GJ was the only GJ and gold were the only two good pairs really that kind of moved and did anything. But yeah, just is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, so we discussed the buys this morning. Obviously I wanted to see some form of pullback or weak candle close in this area and then a continuation. Just didn't get that. The issue we had was it broke the high in the first 5 minutes. So if we go to the 8 a.m. candle on the 5-minute time frame, so you'll see, look, the 8 a.m. candle opened over here. The first 5 minutes pushed up, you know, a fair bit. The next one came down and retraced, and then it was the next 5-minute candle that continued that push. So it was difficult. What would you have liked to have seen was this candle was first and then the next one continued, because then we could anticipate further upside once it started to break the previous high. Because at that point there would have been enough range, you know, because then we had around 10 pip range for like a 9 pip stop. So it would have made more sense, but just didn't really happen like that. But yeah, I think it was a good hard day today. The buys over here needed to manage the risk, did end up playing out later on, but seems like the best thing to have happened was to wait for that support to created, and then this was your buying candle, which moved for around 13-14 pips, and then would have been a nice move. But apart from that, I think it was a little bit of a tough day, but still a good day in terms of volume. So that is my week complete now. So I've done around £550 for the week. I'll put that on my Instagram of the MT5 terminal just to show that those were only 2 trades that were taken this week. So this is the first week back for 2021. Obviously, we've got tomorrow, but I'm not trading tomorrow. So tomorrow, we've got Stop Loss Matters coming on as a guest. Happy to have him on. Really nice guy. He's from the UK, so going to be good to have a chat with him. So he'll be on tomorrow as a guest on the live stream. But yeah, I think next week, I think we're all going to be ready next week to come back and kill it. We're starting to see the volume come back into the market now. The market's starting to move how we usually see it back in, you know, normal trading time. So yeah, it's really good. I feel great being in 2021. I feel fantastic. I feel like I'm at my best again after having a little bit of a minor setback. You know, I'm back. Got that discipline reasserted. In fact, I think I've tightened up the discipline more by making those small little mistakes. It's taught me so much in terms of the real level of discipline needed to be applied to be successful. So now I really see how, you know, if you're going to be disciplined, you can't give 90%, you can't give 95%. You've got to give you 100% discipline to this game if you want to be successful. So I've learned that, and you know, for me learning that, I'm being the role model for the group, and that's why I enjoy and love teaching and all that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate it a lot. So thanks everyone for coming on. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, please subscribe. If you've enjoyed the stream, I know we didn't take a trade today, but if you've enjoyed the stream, enjoyed the commentary, all the support, all the times that I said, you know, you can manage the trade here, you know, if you enjoyed everything and the value, please drop a like on the stream. And yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks to everyone in the Zoom. Kelsey, Scott, Salim, have a great day.
Bye guys, see ya.
Yeah. So thanks very much. Awesome. So thanks everyone on the YouTube. Really appreciate it. We'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. No overtrading, guys. Be cautious. And yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. Also, remember, guys, 3 more days left for the current mentorship price of 250 instead of 400. So if you want to get in the group, trade with us live on the Zoom, and you know, have all the benefits that you know, being in the group has, then you've got 3 days to get it for a cheaper price. Otherwise, you know, if it goes past that date, I'm afraid you know, the new price is the new price, so there won't be any exceptions for anybody. Yeah, I'm afraid. But yeah, either way, if you don't want that, of course, this is what the free live streams are here for, to learn every day for free. So you're still going to learn a lot doing that. Obviously, if you want to level up, be a bit more advanced, get on the stream and trade with us and ask questions properly on the Zoom, then that's your way forward. But of course, that's completely up to you guys. But enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see